Member from St. Mary Central.
Microphone.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak on motion number 1 in support of it. Mr. Speaker, I believe motion 1 seeks to cure a major injustice. As a member of parliament, Mr. Speaker, I sometimes have a major challenge explaining to constituents who live in housing schemes that have been developed for many years, and the roads are in a state of disrepair. And those roads have no owner within the government, Mr. Speaker. You can't tell them that works agency can respond. You can't tell them that the municipal corporation, it's not rather. It's a bastard road, no father, no owner. Even notwithstanding the status of that bastard still exists. I think, Mr. Speaker, I would want to go a little further. I think the government, the motion should also call on the government or ask the government to put a lien on a certain percentage of the properties in new developments. I tell you why, member. When somebody lives in a community and they're paying property tax, which they're told is supposed to take care of some of the infrastructure, and they live in a community which is approved, a subdivision which is approved, or a scheme that is approved by the government and approved by the local authority, and they buy it with that confidence that it has the approval of their government and their local authority. It's a wickedness to tell them that government can't touch their road and can't upgrade their infrastructure when it is in a state of disrepair. And I'm wondering whether the member would be open to amending the motion to also, instead of just handing over the roadway to the local authority and putting the can over to the local authority, when these developers would have, as a condition of doing the development, would have undertaken to do the development of the roads. Right, so the roads would need to be handed over in a particular condition that is acceptable to the local authority. So I'm wondering whether we shouldn't be asking that a lien be put on a certain number, it's there now, on a certain number of the properties so that it can be liquidated. So residents don't have to carry the bag when these roads fall in disrepair, or when the local authority is not prepared to take it over. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I want to briefly speak to two of the motions. The first being the second motion having to do with the ROPA. And in this regard, the suggestion by someone votes is welcomed and probably long overdue. We do have a large segment of our community, of our society, who believe an X indicates wrong. And so for that reason, as simple as it sounds, do not engage in the voting process. And so I welcome that aspect of the motion. As the other member said previously in her contribution, I would want us to give consideration to the implement which is used, because this can be a security feature in the voting process, but also to restrict the kinds of marks that would be accepted instead of making it open to any mark. There are marks which are positive, and people might find that more acceptable as a way of indicating their vote. So with those two suggestions, I am in support of the motion. Motion 6, which has to do with the voters list. Again, in support with a couple suggestions for consideration in terms of changes. The links between the different agencies that have custody of data. I think we should have a conversation, or if the motion can facilitate us ensuring that there's a stronger linkage among these agencies, namely the RGD, the EOJ. I mentioned this, Mr. Speaker, because what that would mean is that the verification process, the process of removing those who've passed on or who have migrated from the voters list would be almost, well, easier, not automatic, but certainly easier than it is now, but controlled by these agencies. Once you have, for example, proof of death, and that can be done without having to revert to the local EOJ office. The other aspect of this, which I think is important to look at, is making the re-verification process, having a required time frame for the re-verification process. So at the moment, we do not have an established time frame. And I think a periodic review, 10, 15 years might be, we link it to the census, would be one way to go, just to ensure that we're not back here in 10 years saying we need money for re-verification. And so, again, with these two suggestions for consideration, I would support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member from Portland Eastern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I